Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. You join me in my MGB GT again, and that's because after last week's outing to see Adam C's car show and do a couple of repairs, I really enjoyed that and fancied giving it a run. But we're not doing an MGB video today. Today we're going to see my Lotus Esprit S2 and we're going to begin work stripping down the interior for that car. The MG is doing okay, so last time I broke off a grease nipple on my front suspension and I've used an easy out tool just to extract that and replace it with a new one. So thank you to everybody who recommended that tool. I think a few people recommended pretty much the same tool, just with different brands and things. So going to enjoy the drive there, but I do feel a bit unprepared. I've got a couple of storage boxes that you might be able to see behind me to try and put the different parts of the Lotus in, but the MGB not being the most practical car, you can't get a whole lot in this car, and I've got a tool kit to my left here and a jack in the boot as well. So we'll see what we can do today. I should already have bought our family car in a state so I could load it up with the parts, and I do have some storage now, so kindly someone has lent me their vacant garage to put things in. I should probably put cars in it rather than parts, but that's going to be where the bits of the Lotus will live while I do the restoration. Anyway, with this car packed up, we'll make our way to my parents' house where the Lotus is stored and see how we do. So here we are then, back in the Lotus, and it doesn't get better if you leave it, which is a shame. So I think today the plan will be just to get these seats out, and then that means I can start removing some of this really mouldy and smelly carpet. And then if we have time, just start moving some of the easier trim pieces. You can see there my gear knob is missing. I do have that somewhere, although it's wooden and it's split in half, so I might have to get another one made up. But the crucial thing is I've got the metal bit that goes on the top, so I could probably get quite a realistic looking replica made. So yeah, we'll see how easy these seats are to get out. I'm thinking that the amount of moisture that's in here, they might be a bit rusted, the bolts that hold them in. They're exposed to the elements on the outside, so it might be a job to get them out. Well, so far so good. So there's sort of 4 bolts holding in the seat frame, and even though they're very, very rusty, they do seem to be coming undone, which is good. So I just need to methodically just keep working my way around, try not to apply too much pressure, otherwise they might snap off, and judicial use of WD-40 I think is in order to try and make sure I don't break anything. But we'll see if we can get these seats out relatively quickly. Well, it's only a matter of time. It snapped off. Oh well, I don't know how bad that's going to be, but it means I can get the seat out. But whether refitting it will require parts that are ridiculously hard to find or not, we'll see in the future. Surely it can't be more than just a bolt or something, says he ignorantly, but we'll keep on going. Right then, first seat is out, and under it we found some treasure. This was once a toolkit and it's now just a pile of rust. Which just kind of shows how much moisture is in the bottom of this car. It's completely rusted to bits. Looks like it could have been found on the bottom of the sea, so you know, in keeping with Lotus Esprit tradition, maybe that seems correct. But inside the car we can see the carpet has not survived very well, and it's all sort of mouldy and that kind of thing. And in fact, when I tried to lift up the carpet, the edge of it came away, but the middle of it is just disintegrated and stuck to the floor of the car. I'm going to keep going on this side, just pulling bits up that I can and putting them in the bin, because that's all they're good for. And once I've done that, I'll move on to the driver's side. It just peels off, it doesn't even feel like it's staying together. Right, so I've found further clues to this car being a genuine low mileage car, and that is this little sticker that I hadn't noticed before. I'm not sure if this is going to come out in the video. There's a little sticker on the windscreen that kind of gets obscured by the sun visor if you put that down, but it says pretty much the running in instructions for the car, so not to go over a certain amount of RPM for the first 1,000 miles. So I think that's amazing. I'd love to keep that sticker, even if we have to remove the windscreen from this car. I'd hate for that to go, and it's just another original feature that just shows that this car is pretty fresh. I mean, you know, 30,000 or just about to be 31,000 miles actually, but I think that's great. I think that's amazing that sticker's sort of survived in here, considering how much moisture has been in this car. Okay, so drawing today or this morning to a close. Only got limited time today to do some bits and pieces. I've got the seats out and I've managed to strip a bit of the passenger side footwell and under the seat of carpet. It is going to be slow going because there's a lot of glue and carpet that's stuck down. The driver's seat is much the same story, so I haven't quite done as much on that side, and really it's just going to be a case of using a scraper, maybe a bit of heat or something to get everything off there, but I don't think I'm going to try and do that straight away. It's more to try and get the rest of the trim panels out next time I come, so figuring out how this centre console comes in, how it's all put together. And I've started trying to unscrew the centre console here, but the screws are rusted and I tried drilling them out, it doesn't work, so more work to do. Okay, so it's another day and I'm back here again with the Lotus Esprit. Last time I got the seats out, and that's as far as I got really, and stripping a bit of carpet before I had to go home. And I did a user poll on the community page, and people sort of wanted to see the footage that I got, but I thought that was a bit short. So I've come back again, and this time I'm going to be working a bit more on the engine bay interior trim. I had started to do a bit of the dashboard, but a couple of bolts or screws that I'd stripped the heads on was frustrating me. So it's always good to sort of leave a job, do something else, and come back to a frustrating job after a little while, because you come back with a bit of a fresh motivation to get it done. So hopefully the engine bay trim comes out pretty easily. It looks like it's mainly Phillips head screwdrivers and carpet, which it just pops off. So we'll see how we get on. Okay, so started removing some of the trim now, and it's remarkable how much plywood is used in here actually. Plywood on carpet, and you can see some under there that is chipped and is all a bit damp and warped, so probably needs to be replaced. Certainly the carpet does, that's very crusty. And there's also a bit of trim here which I've removed, and there's some stuff behind, but I don't think I can get all of that out until I start doing the exterior trim. So the 3/4 lights there, I think you have to kind of remove those to then gain access to behind this panel to free up these last screws potentially. So the other thing is I've taken the engine cover off now to try and get a bit more access to those carpeted sections at the back. And what an engine it is. I mean, I haven't really recorded too much of this on other videos because, well, just haven't really had that much time with the car. And this is really the first time I've had a proper look at it. And it's I mean, it's a fairly serious engine, this, in terms of its technical complexity for the time. So twin cam 16 valve head there off to the side, because it was supposed to eventually evolve into a V8 engine. So this is kind of like half of a V8, if you see what I mean. This is like one bank of the cylinder head type thing, and then you've got these Delauto carburetors there, and this air box on the side. This should all be connected up, and it's supposed to take air. I think the air comes in the scoops, but not on that side. I think people think it comes in this scoop and straight into the airbox, but actually it comes in from that side. I think it's supposed to cross the engine bay into this one and then into the airbox, and that one's more used for a cooling purposes around here, or something like that. Anyway, it doesn't directly feed the airbox. There's kind of a flow of air that comes across here. Yeah, so as I mentioned probably in another video, the gearbox is kind of at the back of this car, so sort of longitudinal drive there, so it's much more similar to I guess like a Formula One car if you stretch your imagination a bit, with the gearbox right at the back, or more modern supercars tend to be like that. Whereas normally for a 4-cylinder mid-engine car, it's kind of a backwards front-wheel drive car, so it's kind of across the engine bay with the gearbox on the side. So I mean, they kind of try to keep a bit of a F1 style technology in this car, and actually I'm not sure if you can see down here, it's probably too dark. Oh no, here we go. Just here, if you can make that out, these are the inboard rear discs that come out of the side of the diff there, and yeah, it's all very interesting, all very new to me, because I'm very much more experienced with the MG, which is just over there, being a very sort of simple front engine rear wheel drive car, whereas this is all sort of back to front in my mind. But yeah, it's great to experience having a look at this thing and having quite good fun taking it apart, and yeah, let's see how we get on. And whilst we're here, I may as well talk about the kind of setup. So I'm disassembling the car here, and over on this side I've got these storage boxes and larger sort of trim items I'm just sticking in there for now, and I don't know if I'll even keep some of these. They're in pretty bad shape, a lot of it. And then with my trusty label maker and some bags and a permanent marker, I'm attempting to bag up all the fasteners and give them a label. So I've not labelled this yet, but this is going to be sort of the engine bay fixings bag. I've got another one for the seat fixings, and even if I don't use the fasteners again, at least I've got a reference to what came out of the car. So if I need to get new bits and they all come in the post and I don't know what they're for, then I can look in the bag and see what they're supposed to be replacements for. But yeah, anyway, on with the tasks. Okay, so progress has been slightly slow, but the engine bay is now fairly clear of trim. So undid the plywood panels above each of the fuel tanks, so you can see the foam on top of the fuel tanks there, one on each side, because this car has twin tanks with a sort of pipe that connects the two of them so they are equally filled. The problem is, like, a lot of the smaller cross-headed screws are just so crusty and rusted up that you only really get one attempt with a screwdriver to try and undo it, and if it doesn't want to come, it just crumbles to pieces. So those seatbelt covers there, some of the screws came out, some of them I'm gonna have to drill them out, and I did want to start taking the dash apart today. I managed to get the steering wheel off, that was totally fine, but just every single screw is just a complete nightmare. So I think one came out, whereas the others, you can see I've tried to drill a couple out there without success. That was trying to use an easy out tool actually, and that just didn't work. All these are just completely stuck, complete nightmare. Even the ones on the steering cowl here. So I'm not going to be able to use an easy out on those, I don't think. It just doesn't seem to work. I think what I'm going to have to do is get some high-speed left-handed drill bits and just drill out the self-tappers. That might even wreck what's underneath, but it's the only way I can see of getting all of this trim out of this car so I can replace it with fresh stuff. And yeah, it's really disappointing, because it should just be, you know, a screwdriver and a few hours work to methodically work your way through this car, but it doesn't seem to be happening because of the state of all the fixings. Now that is a bit disappointing, and I do wonder actually, like looking down in the footwell and things, what actually happened to this car. And I can't believe that being in a garage it would have this much corrosion on the inside. It must have flooded somehow or something like that. Some sort of ingress of water has happened here, and a lot of stuff is just so rusty. Like that toolkit I found that looked like it'd been left on the bottom of the sea for a decade. Just doesn't really, you just don't really think that would happen in a garage, but maybe the condensation and years of it sweating in there, maybe that is what happens. But yeah, I haven't got quite as far as I thought I would today, so I'm probably going to leave this video. The seats are in back in, by the way, because this is the best place to store them until I found a better storage place for them. But that's probably it for sort of part 1 of the interior strip. I'll probably release this as a video and then do a follow-up interior strip down once I've got some better tools to tackle the dashboard and things. I think that probably warrants its own video. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully you've enjoyed this Lotus update. I mean, I've enjoyed taking it apart so far. Certainly the bits of trim that came off a bit easier, it's very satisfying to take off the car. And over here I have done quite a lot of strip downs, all of these wooden panels and things, and the steering wheel in there, and I've tried to preserve some of the this is a jar of Nescafe that I found in the car, which cost £1.67, God knows when. But in this box I've tried to keep some of the more fragile plastic pieces, so part of the steering boss, the steering wheel foam centre, and these sort of very flimsy plastic bits. So yeah, I think I've made okay progress for just a couple of hours work, but yeah, until the next time, take it easy and see you later. Bye bye.